Aloha mai kako, you are watching Hawaii Political Reporter.
Aloha and welcome to Hawaii Political Reporter. Thanks for watching. Tonight our focus is on the U.S. government's obsession with spying on everyone worldwide and punishing honest officials and whistleblowers while withholding national and administrative information that by law is supposed to be freely accessible to the public. We hear from President Kennedy, former National Security Administration whistleblower William Binney, and international freedom fighter and political prisoner Julian Assange. We also have news updates from Free and Equal, the anti-corruption, big money fighting activist for fair candidate access and elections, and a real music video treat, Bombs by Golden State the Band. This powerful civil rights and peace video will move you and make you think, guaranteed, even if you're a neocon. But first, community update from Hawaii State Senator Russell Ruderman. Volcano road closures between March 4th and 8th in the vicinity of Kea'au. Contraflow on the Volcano Road, Route 11. Volcano-bound lanes will be converted to two-way traffic. Hilo-bound lanes will be reduced to single lane. And congratulations to the Waters of Life Public Charter School for being only one of 5 schools in Hawaii to earn the highest award by meeting annual progress goals for 2 consecutive years. And congratulations to the Kea'au Middle School and Pahoa High and Intermediate School for their awards for ranking in the top 5% of the state for reading or math growth as part of the No Child Left Behind testing.
The very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society. And we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret societies, to secret oaths, and to secret proceedings. We decided long ago that the dangers of excessive and unwarranted concealment of pertinent facts far outweighed the dangers which are cited to justify it. Even today, there is little value in opposing the threat of a closed society by imitating its arbitrary restrictions. Even today, there is little value in ensuring the survival of our nation if our traditions do not survive with it. And there is very grave danger that an announced need for increased security will be seized upon by those anxious to expand its meaning to the very limits of official censorship and concealment. That I do not intend to permit to the extent that it's in my control. And no official of my administration, whether his rank is high or low, civilian or military, should interpret my words here tonight as an excuse to censor the news, to stifle dissent, to cover up our mistakes, or to withhold from the press and the public the facts they deserve to know. For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence, on infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections, on intimidation instead of free choice, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. It is a system which has conscripted vast human and material resources into the building of a tightly knit, highly efficient machine that combines military, diplomatic, intelligence, economic, scientific, and political operations. Its preparations are concealed, not published. Its mistakes are buried, not headlined. Its dissenters are silenced, not praised. No expenditure is questioned, no rumor is printed, no secret is revealed. No president should fear public scrutiny of his program, for from that scrutiny comes understanding, and from that understanding comes support or opposition, and both are necessary. I am not asking your newspapers to support an administration, but I am asking your help in the tremendous task of informing and alerting the American people. For I have complete confidence and the response and dedication of our citizens whenever they are fully informed. I not only could not stifle controversy among your readers, I welcome it. This administration intends to be candid about its errors. For as a wise man once said, an error doesn't become a mistake until you refuse to correct it. We intend to accept full responsibility for our errors.
FBI has access to the data collected, which is basically the emails of virtually everybody in the country, and the FBI has access to it All the congressional members are on this surveillance too. It's not, no one's excluded. They're all included. So yes, this can happen to anyone if they become a target for whatever reason. If they are targeted by the government can go in, or the FBI or other agencies of the government can go into that database, pull all that data they've collected on them over the years, and reanalyze it all. So retroactively analyze everything they've done over the last 10 years at least. AT&T facility in San Francisco documented the NSA room inside that AT&T facility where they had NARIS devices to collect data off the fiber optic lines inside the United States. So that's kind of a powerful device that would collect everything that was being sent. It could collect on the order of over 100 billion 1,000 character emails a day. One device. I believe I've been on it for quite a few years, yeah. So I keep telling them everything I think of them in my email. The change is that it's getting worse. They're doing more. That's why he is supporting the building of the Buffdale facility, which is over $2 billion they're spending on storage alone of data. So that means that they're collecting a lot more now. The central government defines what is right and wrong and whether or not they target you. So it's not up to the individual. They're violating the foundation of this entire country, our entire foundation of why this entire government was formed. It's founded with the Constitution and the rights given to the people in the country under that Constitution. They're in violation of that. And under Executive Order 13526, Section 1.7, governing classification, you cannot classify information that just to cover up a crime, which this is. And that was signed by President Obama. Also, President Bush signed an earlier executive order, a very similar one. If any of this comes into the Supreme Court and they rule it unconstitutional, then the entire house of cards of the government falls.
The people who control the interception of the internet and to some degree also physically control the big data warehouses and the international fiber optic lines. So we all think of the internet as some kind of platonic realm where we can throw our ideas and communications and web pages and books, and they exist somewhere out there. Actually, they exist on web servers in New York or Nairobi or in Beijing, and the information comes to us through satellite connections or through fiber optic cables. So whoever physically controls this controls the realm of our ideas and communications. And whoever is able to sit on those communications channels can intercept entire nations, and that's the new game in town as far as state spying is concerned, intercepting entire nations, not individuals. Yeah, I mean, the United States National Security Agency has been doing this for some 30, 20 years, but now it's spread to even mid-sized nations. Even Gaddafi's Libya was employing the Eagle system, which is produced by a French company, Amicis, pushed there in 2009, advertised in its internal documentation as nationwide interception system. So what's happened over the last 10 years is ever decreasing costs of intercepting each individual, now to the degree where it's cheaper to intercept every individual than it is to pick particular people to spy upon.
And what's the alternative, the sort of utopian alternative that you would put forward?
So the utopian alternative is to try and gain independence for the internet, for it to sort of declare independence versus the rest of the world. And that's really quite important, because if you think about what is human civilization that makes it quintessentially human and civilized, it is our shared knowledge about how the world works, how we deal with each other, how we deal with the environment, which institutions are corrupt, which ones are good, what are the least dumb ways of doing things. And that intellectual knowledge is something we're all putting onto the internet. And so if we can try and decouple that from the brute nature of states and their cronies, then I think we really have hope for a global civilization. If, on the other hand, the mere security guards, the people who control the guns, are able to take control of our intellectual life, take control of all the ways in which we communicate to each other, then of course you can see how dreadful the outcome will be. Because it won't just happen to one nation, It will happen to every nation at once. It is happening to every nation at once as far as spying is concerned, because now every nation is merging its society with internet infrastructure. People think, well, yeah, I use Facebook and maybe the FBI, if they made a request, could come and get it. And everyone's much more aware of that now, of course, because of Petraeus. But that's not the problem. The problem is that all the time, everyone, nearly everything they do on the internet is permanently recorded. Every web search. Do you know what you were thinking 1 year, 2 days, 3 months ago? Now, you don't know, but Google knows. It remembers. The National Security Agency, who intercepts the request if it flowed over the US border, it knows. So by just communicating to our friends, by emailing each other, by updating Facebook profiles, we are informing on our friends. And friends don't inform on friends. You know, the Stasi had a 10% penetration of East German society, with up to 1 in 10 people being informers at some time in their life. Now, in countries that have the highest internet penetration, like Iceland, more than 80% of people are on Facebook informing about their friends. That information doesn't go nowhere. It's not kept in Iceland. It's sent back into the United States, where it's accessible by US intelligence, where it is accessed by US intelligence, and where it is given out to any friends or cronies of US intelligence. Hundreds of national security letters every day, publicly declared, being issued by the United States government. Well, we have this position where, as we know, knowledge is power, and there's a mass transfer as a result of literally billions of interceptions per day going from everyone, the average person, into the data vaults of state spying agencies for the big countries and their cronies, the corporations that help build them that infrastructure. Those groups were already powerful. That's why they were able to build this infrastructure to intercept on everyone. So they're growing more powerful, concentrating the power in the hands of smaller and smaller groups of people at once, which isn't necessarily bad, but it's extremely dangerous once there is any sort of corruption occurring in the power, because absolute power corrupts, and when it becomes corrupt, it can affect a lot of people very quickly. Bill Binney, National Security Agency whistleblower, who was the research head of the National Security Agency Signals and Intelligence Division, describes this as turnkey totalitarianism, that all the infrastructure has been built for absolute totalitarianism. It's just a matter of turning the key. And actually the key has already been turned a little bit, and it is now affecting people who are targeted for US drone strikes, organizations like WikiLeaks, national security reporters who are having their sources investigated, is already partly turned. And the question is, will it go all the way? It's both. I mean, the surveillance infrastructure, the bulk surveillance infrastructure, there are hundreds of companies involved in that business. They have secret international conferences. They have prospectuses that they give to the intelligence agencies that we have obtained and published this year, together with Privacy International and the Bureau of Investigative Journalism. Also, the Wall Street Journal has done some good work on this. They're building devices that they advertise to intercept entire nations, to install the data from those intercepts permanently, strategic interception, because it's cheaper. So it's a combined corporate government amalgam. That's one of the problems. One of the reasons it's so unaccountable is it crosses boundaries. These companies don't just sell to their home country. They sell to companies overseas, that the shareholdings are held in BVI, and the company might be British registered like BAE, but actually a lot of research and development is done in Sweden, etc. And then you also have Google and Facebook, who started out predominantly serving the public, but also have developed side projects to service the US intelligence complex. And individuals are constantly pushing their thoughts into Google as each thing that they want to research is pushed, their emails, and in Facebook, their social relationships. It's an undreamt of spy database. Facebook is completely undreamt of from even the worst spying nation, the richness and sophistication of relationships expressed.
And willingly contributed to.
Well, no, but not with informed consent. People don't actually know. When you went on Facebook, it says share this to your friends. That's what it says. It doesn't say share this to state agencies. It doesn't say share this to friends and cronies of state agencies. Well, for some, if there's political will, everything is possible. So if we get the political will, then of course, those agencies can be dismantled. Very aggressive legislation and policing can be pushed upon them. In some regions of the world, such as Latin America, perhaps that's a possibility. There's a certain democratic tendency, which Ecuador is part of, that might do that. But in general, I think the prognosis is very grim. And we really are at this moment where it can go one way or the other way. To a degree, I think perhaps the best that we can be sure, if we work, of achieving is that some of us are protected. It may only be a high-tech elite, hopefully expanded a bit more, people who can produce tools and information for others that they can use to protect themselves. It's not necessary that all of society is covered and that all of society is protected. What is necessary is that the critical accountability components of society that stop it going down the tubes entirely, that those people are protected. So those include corruption investigators, journalists, activists, and political parties. These have got to be protected. If they're not protected, then it's all lost. Well, a little bit. But the first thing to be aware of is how much you're giving away. The first way to protect yourself is go, okay, well, I discussed that in person and not over Facebook chat. Okay, I'll discuss this using some forms of encrypted chat like OTR and not on Facebook chat. You can go to torproject.org and download encrypted anonymizing software. It's slower than normal, but for things like internet chat, it's fine because you're not downloading very much at once. So there are ways of doing this. What is really necessary, however, for those to be properly developed, is for there to be enough market demand. It's the same situation as soap and washing your hands. That once upon a time, before the bacterial theory of disease, before we understood that out there invisibly was all this bacteria that is trying to cause us harm, just like mass states of violence is out there invisible and trying to cause society at large harm, no one bothered to wash their hands. First process was discovery, second process, education. Third process, a market demand is created as a result of education, which means that experts can start to manufacture soap, and then people can buy it and use it. So this is where we're at now, which is we've got to create education amongst people so there can be a market demand, so that others can be encouraged to produce easy-to-use cryptographic technology that is capable of protecting a significant, not everyone, but a significant number of people from mass state spying. And if we're not able to protect a significant number of people from mass state spying, in the basic democratic and civilian institutions that we're used to, and not in the West, I'm no glorifier of the West, but in all societies, are going to crumble away. They will crumble away, and they'll do so all at once. And that's an extremely dangerous phenomenon. It's not often where all the world goes down the tube all at once. Usually you have a few countries that are okay, that you can bootstrap civilization again from. Well, Cablegate is extraordinary, and we published this over a period of 12 months. It is the most significant leak, although our previous leak on the Iraq War was also 400,000 documents showing over 100,000 people being killed, and precisely how. That was also very significant. But yes, no one has done anything as significant as that since. But yeah, hopefully that will continue. I mean, the successes of WikiLeaks shouldn't be viewed merely as a demonstration of our organization's virility or the virility of the activist community on the internet. They are also a function of this hoarding of information by these national security states. You know, the reason that there was so much information to leak, the reason it could be leaked all at once, is because they had hoarded so much. Why had they hoarded so much? Well, to gain extra power through knowledge. They wanted their own knowledge internally to be easily accessible to their people, to be searchable, so as much power could be extracted from it as possible. WikiLeaks attempts to redress the imbalance of power by taking what's inside these very powerful institutions and giving them to the commons, people in general, so we can understand how our world works and stop takeover by these powerful institutions. But it's a function of how much knowledge these powerful institutions have accumulated. It's affecting my ability to meet with our people in different countries and to proselytize and things like this. But we should keep it in perspective. There are others who I have been in prison also in the past 2 years, and I know that is a much more serious condition than the one that I'm in. I'm fortunately able to give interviews and so on. So at least I have a voice.
In some news from Free and Equal, if you're not sure who Free and Equal is, they are an excellent, honest organization truly working for the people. They are working to break the two-party stranglehold, and what that would be is a benefit to all of us, the average person out there. It's basically they're a nonprofit formed to ensure a fair and open electoral process for all. It's their belief that a true democracy fosters a climate where all voices are heard regardless of political party or persuasion. And in their mission statement, they say, and this is, I think, an obvious truth, our mission is to ensure free, open, and fair elections by empowering third parties, activists, and independents. We work to break the stranglehold of the two-party system and add other voices and solutions to the debate. When these two parties are essentially trading the power, it's just, like a baseball game. They don't really care in a way who wins and loses. They're getting paid to play no matter what. The truth is when independent parties, in my opinion, get in there, then things can really get shaken up for the people. Because right now it's basically large corporations, very large moneyed interests, working in conjunction with the two parties, slightly different flavors on each, but in general they're basically most concerned about their power and their well-being, not the people's, with of course some exceptions. So anyways, the news is that Golden State, an totally awesome, great band, good sounding, nice guys. It will be performing at the Free and Equal United We Stand Festival in Little Rock, Arkansas. They've had a bunch of wonderful songs, and the one that stands out most to me is Golden State Bombs, quote-unquote bombs. This is a song about peace, and this was actually pretty much identified with the Ron Paul movement, of which I was one. And, we don't like war and killing innocent people, and we think this is a wonderful message, and, freedom, peace, love, okay, truth, honesty, inclusive solutions, okay, and not corrupting money influences. We think these are all good things, and this is really what Free and Equal's about. Christina Tobin, and this is one of the few organizations that I give money to. I totally believe and trust in her and what she's doing. She was able to pull together the debates last year, the independent debates with the Greens, the American Constitution Party, of course the Libertarians, and the Justice Party, Rocky Anderson's Justice Party, and it was certainly wonderful to hear some alternative thoughts and honest people up there instead of the corporate line and the presidential debate show, we should say, where they all limit what can be said and the damage. It's such BS. I mean, if you haven't seen those debates, I highly encourage you to watch them. Anyways, that's the news, and we're going to be playing the Golden State video in a moment for you, but please consider at least checking out all the good works that Christina and the whole organization Free and Equal do, and Golden State Bombs. And thanks again for watching and listening to the show, and we'll be seeing you next week. And until then, peace.
I can't any army or any government.
You try a hide and destroy a freedom. You seek agenda. We know you anti-American. You come forward American Constitution. 1913, corrupt in the system. Devalue dollar, hyperinflation. The Federal Reserve, controlled by Lucifer. He can see you lying.